I made my first $100,000 on the internet by the time I was just 19 years old. And the crazy thing is, you're able to do the same things I'm about to talk about in this video. But in order for me to get to that point, it took a lot of days of me sitting in my room alone, staring at my computer screen, hoping I wouldn't miss the next sneaker restock or hyped NFT release. Lots of opportunities where I missed out on being a normal teenager with friends and eventually watching myself fall out of love with it all. Here's step by step how I did it, the wins, the losses, and what it actually cost me to get to this point. March 2020, the world had just shut down because of this thing called COVID. Doing what any 16-year-old guy did with this information at the time, I spent the foreseeable future doing nothing but playing video games all day with my friends. And man, it was fun until it wasn't. Who knew playing video games all day for weeks would eventually get boring? I was pretty competitive growing up while playing sports or video games, and being stuck at home, I needed to take my competitive nature out on something. At this time, I was watching YouTubers like Blazendary, Blake Wynn, and 2J's Kicks on streetwear reselling and that entire niche. It was something that was always interesting to me because I thought the clothing and shoes were cool, but kind of realized if I was able to just resell the same stuff that they were, I'd be able to afford a Bape hoodie, a Supreme hoodie, or whatever I wanted at the time. So I thought, if they can do it, why can't I? So I pulled together everything I had, $1,000 from birthdays and Christmas money over the years, plus my dad threw me $500 as startup capital, $1,500 to make something happen. I had joined a paid Discord group in March 2020 that a friend in high school that I knew was into reselling at the time referred me to, or what was known as a cook group for anyone that was involved in the scene at the time. These groups basically supply paying members with tons of relevant and timely information surrounding anything streetwear related that would yield members a profit. After joining this group and talking with a lot of the more experienced people in the reselling scene, I decided it was worth it for me to invest some money into a bot that would let me purchase limited and sought after items quickly. The bot was called Project Destroyer at the time, and with the help of the people in the group, I was aiming to use my newly acquired bot on the next drop, which happened to be the Jordan 4 Metallics. I'd basically spent the few days prior to the drop setting up the bot, buying proxies. And for those who don't know what proxies are, they're just IP addresses that act as an intermediary between yourself and the web requests on the website. Along with getting proxies, I had to use my parents' credit card and get another debit card from my bank so that I was able to buy as many pairs as I could. And I managed to cop 6 pairs on that same Saturday. It took a few days for the shoes to eventually come in, but I had listed them on Facebook Marketplace immediately after the drop was over because I was so scared of not being able to sell the shoes. After getting the shoes, they were all sold within a few days. And I remember just sitting there after selling my last pair from the initial release and thinking how crazy this all was. All I did was buy some shoes from Foot Locker, posted them on Facebook, sold them to people in my area, and walked away with a profit. That weekend changed everything for me. It proved that this wasn't just something other people did. This was something that I could actually do. This euphoria was short-lived because I got scammed the next weekend when I went up to meet this girl to sell another pair from a Foot Locker restock later that week. And I should have known from the start because she looked like Vicky, but that's something for another time. She showed me an e-transfer confirmation on her phone, handed her the shoes, and she disappeared. She had shown me a fake confirmation email, so she got the shoes for free. And in the moment, it definitely hurt considering the shoe was probably 10% of my net worth at the time, but obviously taught me to not be so naive and trusting of people. Looking back, it's pretty funny to see how much that impacted me, and I'm glad it happened because without that, I would have learned the harder way on a much bigger scale. From this point on, I just took the L on the chin and kept it moving. Basically obsessing over the reselling scene, meeting people who are now lifelong friends and making as many connections as I can in my own network of buyers and sellers. Every Saturday, there was a sneaker releasing that would immediately be profitable as they would sell out because these retailers were just facing supply constraints due to COVID. Shoe releases that were sitting on shelves just a year before would sell out in just hours all over the world. The combination of everyone being stuck at home, everyone getting stimulus checks, and supply constraints with these retailers made it a perfect storm for markets like this to take off. Now, this is where things get interesting because it was the summer of 2020. I've been reselling shoes for about 4 months now and probably had around $10,000 saved up. It's getting hot outside, and while parents are stuck with their kids at home because no sports are going on, they were looking for ways in which they would be able to keep them busy, and obviously pools became an easy fix to this issue. Some people I was in a cook group with and myself noticed that above ground pools were starting to sell out at retailers. And when I mean selling out, I mean every Walmart, every Costco was sold out within a 10-hour drive of me. Like you could not find them anywhere, which meant there was a huge opportunity here. So I did what any other 17-year-old would do at the time is I purchased a bot that would monitor these restocks on Walmart and Costco's website for above ground pools. Anytime they restocked, my bot would automatically purchase as many as possible. I was reselling pools out of my garage at 17 years old. I'd post these pools for sale at 2 to 3 times the retail price in Facebook groups, Facebook Marketplace, and other local marketplaces, and I couldn't keep them in stock even if I tried. And as you can imagine, I caught a ton of crap from people near me about how I was reselling something that their kids just wanted to play with. But I was making so much money reselling these pools at the time that I really couldn't care less. And I'm glad I continued it throughout the entire summer. Without doing that, I don't know if I would have been able to save up enough capital needed to scale my business as quickly as I did. This was profitable until about the end of summer 2020 because it started getting cold and nobody wanted pools anymore. And when it was all said and done, I was able to make over $20,000 from just reselling pools in a summer, which had me feeling like Elon Musk because I felt on top of the world. As summer concluded, PS5s were starting to become all the talk in the Discord chats I was in. Again, going back to the same reason shoes, pools, your clothing was so profitable, it was because people had way too much money and there just wasn't enough supply to go around. The resale market was looking like it was going to be $1,000 by the time these PS5s came out, and retail was only $500. So I decided to go pretty heavy on the pre-orders. And when I say you could have ordered as many as you wanted, you could. The only thing you needed was the information on when the releases were happening, 2 hands, and a laptop. Because I actually stopped pre-ordering after 20, I thought they were just so easy to buy that prices would inevitably come down. But looking back, I wish I bought more. Stores like Best Buy, Walmart, GameStop were all selling pre-orders and not charging you for anything until the items actually shipped, which let people like me, who had a smaller bankroll, scale up their operations. Lo and behold, by the time the PS5s came out, they were reselling for over $1,000, which meant I was about to pocket over $10,000 from this alone, and it felt so real. First it was pools, then PS5s, and PS5s continued to be profitable for months. I was able to pocket close to another 20 grand over the coming months from just reselling PS5s alone. By this time, I'd give or take $40,000 saved up from all of my ventures since starting in just March of that same year. And it gave me a sense of confidence that I can really do whatever I want as long as I'm able to work harder than the people around me and put in the necessary reps in order to see the fruits of my labor. PS5s continued to be profitable throughout Q4 of 2020, all the way into Q2 of 2021. But at the same time, while all this was going on, I was still reselling shoes. But I was running into major issues trying to scale because of credit card, home address limitations. Turns out it's really hard to scale a business when you're just 17 years old, and the only way to scale a business like this is access to multiple addresses, hundreds of credit cards, and a 6-figure bankroll. So I figured out a solution. I started using other people's information with their permission, obviously. It was something called ACO. How it works is reputable buyers would provide me with their addresses, credit cards, and I would run their information on my bots. For every pair I hit for them, they would pay me. So let's say they're going to make $80 on a shoe. If I hit 1 shoe, they would pay me $20. If I hit 2 shoes, they'd pay me $40, and so on. This made sense to do alongside buying pairs for myself because I was already running these bots, and this is what allowed me to scale. I went from hitting 5 to 10 pairs per drop to sometimes over 100. It was a completely different game. This let me scale my business without worrying about any of the physical aspects of the shoe game, all because of the connections and seeds I planted earlier in 2020 when I was just starting out to meet people. Doing this alongside buying shoes for myself to resell just on a smaller scale proved to be extremely lucrative for a kid who was in his senior year at high school. Trying to build as much capital as possible, I was averaging between $3,000 and $5,000 per month from doing all this while being a full-time student, which gave me some sort of God complex or something because I remember thinking why I was even in school if I was making all this money. Onto the summer of 2021, I was chatting in a reselling Discord I was in, and someone linked in an NFT project called Tools of Rock Mint Tickets. I had no idea what it was. I asked, and it was about apparently some music project trying to revive 80s rock through NFTs, and I'm still not even sure what pipe dream they were trying to sell, but a friend said to buy, and so I did. The next morning, I woke up, checked the price, and I could sell it for $300 more than what I paid, just like that. Overnight, and I was thinking, okay, if this is happening, I really need to pay attention. So I decided to go deeper. I purchased 2 Ethereum from a friend, cost me a little bit under $8,000, and I started trading NFTs daily. Glued to my computer basically all day, every day from the first NFT mint I just mentioned. Much like reselling physical items, I became obsessed. I have a very obsessive personality when it comes to opportunities like this, and I know it might sound crazy that you would be obsessed when it comes to making money. It's what an insane concept that is. Anyways, I would be sitting in my economics class, just scrolling through Discord and OpenSea, watching for new drops. I didn't even care about school at this point because I was making more money than some of my professors. I was online 18 hours a day, watching my Discord chats, crypto Twitter, and my bots for the next NFT mint that was going to be profitable. There would be these metas that would pop up in the NFT space, and your job as a trader was to identify these metas, figure out what the leader of the meta is going to be, and then take advantage of the FOMO from others by buying up as many of these new NFTs as you could and flipping them fast. My day, from the first NFT I bought until the end of the NFT bull cycle, looked like me waking up at 7 a.m., checking all my Discord chats to see if I missed anything, checking Twitter to see if anything happened in the NFT or crypto space, go make a coffee, and then sit my ass down at my desk for the rest of the day, where I would basically do that exact same cycle of looking around, talking to people, looking on OpenSea to see what NFT mints were going on and what projects were pumping. From August 2021 to May 2022, there was basically an infinite amount of ways to make money buying and selling NFTs, and I absolutely took advantage of that opportunity to the fullest extent that I could. I'm not going to go into every single NFT or trade I made because I bought and sold so many times that this video would probably be 2 hours long, but it got to a point during that crypto cycle where I'd become so desensitized to money that I would spend $5,000 on gas fees to mint a singular NFT just to make a couple $1,000s. And if you know nothing about gas fees, it's just the cost of the transaction to push it through Ethereum's network at the time. The more you pay, the quicker the transaction goes through. And if it's a super limited NFT mint that you know is going to be super profitable, it makes sense to pay more in gas fees so that you'll be able to purchase the NFT. Becoming so obsessed with NFTs, spending all my time looking into what was coming out, surrounding myself with others who were in the same boat, it put me in a place that gave me the best possible chance to succeed while trading NFTs, and I definitely did. From Q4 2021 alone, I netted over $200,000 trading NFTs. This was really what blew my mind because this is more money than I'd ever seen in my entire life prior to this point. And it was made through buying and selling digital collectibles priced in a digital currency. The whole thing doesn't even make sense to me 4 years later, and it was a crazy time, and I'm so grateful I'd gone through it and experienced it because it set me up for a really good position later on. Steering away from the journey itself, here's what nobody really talks about, what it actually cost me to get there. Because most of my setbacks during the time weren't financial, they were mental. It's really hard to explain to people that you're spending all day at your computer, why you can't hang out more often, why you're taking forever to respond for texts, why you're not going to all these parties or these events. I was truly obsessed with what I was doing, but it did come with a cost. And I don't mean to come off as some coping loser, although this was definitely my choice and I don't regret it at all. But the feelings I was facing were head on at the time, and I really didn't know what to think of it because I didn't think there was anyone around me that could really relate to what I was feeling. I definitely had my fair share of feeling lonely. There were nights I'd be sitting in my room at 2 a.m., everyone else is asleep or at a party or going out, and I'm just refreshing Discord and OpenSea, seeing my friends have fun on Instagram, not doing normal teenager stuff, and just staring at the 100th derivative of some dog NFT. Constant doubt, like, why am I actually doing this? Is this going to work? What if I'm wasting my time? And then there was a pressure of seeing other people around me making more money, thinking I'm not doing enough. And obviously the burnout. I mean, how can you not burn out when you lock yourself in a room for 5 months? So now I want to talk about what I learned from all this, because hitting 100K at 18 taught me a lot more than just money. The first thing is that opportunities come and go fast. Pools were hot for 3 months. PS5s were hot for 6 to 8 months. NFTs had a crazy 6-month run. If you see an opportunity, you have to go on it immediately because the window closes fast. The second thing is that obsession is both a strength and a weakness. Being obsessed allowed me to outwork everyone and spot opportunities others miss, but it also burned me out and cost me experiences I'll never get back. You have to find a balance, and I'm honestly still trying to work on that. The third thing is that people will not understand what you're doing, and that's okay because people's experiences shape their perception on reality, but you need to be understanding of that. Instead of thinking everyone's preying on your downfall, because I can almost promise you that in most cases, that's just not what's going on. Most people thought I was wasting my time doing all this shit, and I didn't get why they were thinking that, but looking back, I'd 100% understand, because if they weren't involved in the reselling crypto or internet money space, in general, they would think I'm delusional. The fourth thing is that making money doesn't solve everything. I hit 100K at 18 and I was still stressed, still felt pressure, still had doubt. Money helps, but it doesn't fix the mental stuff. That's something that heals over time and having a good support system. And the last thing, it's worth it. Yeah, I sacrificed a lot and it was hard, but I built the foundation at 18 that most people don't have in their 30s. And it's just given me the ability to create so many cool experiences for myself when it comes to traveling, meeting cool people, buying things I've dreamt of buying from when I started this journey at 16. Looking at where I am today, I'm now at 22, sitting on a net worth of just under $800,000. What I'm doing now has changed. I'm not reselling it all anymore. It just started to take up a lot of capital and the returns weren't justifying the time I was spending. I'm largely letting my money work for me, have rental property income, income from private lending, building a stock and crypto portfolio. While I do have income from entrepreneurial ventures that I'll speak about in a later video, I work a full-time job in software sales, which is taking up a lot of my time. If you're watching this and you're young and you're still trying to figure out how to make money, my advice is simple. Find something you're interested in, see how other people are monetizing that niche, take notes of what they're doing, and don't stop until it works. It's going to be hard. You're going to have to sacrifice things and people aren't going to understand. But if you stay consistent and you're willing to put in the work, you can do most things people think are impossible. So that's how I made 100K on the internet by the age of 18. The wins, the losses, the mental battles, all of it. Comment below what your current goal is. Are you trying to hit your first 10K, your first 50, your first 100,000? I'd love to hear where you're at. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like, hit that subscribe button because I'm going to keep sharing my journey and everything I'm learning along the way. I'll see you in the next one.